This is America First, and here's your host, Dr. Sebastian Gorka.
You want the fox to guard the hen house? I mean, give me a break. I think this is something that has huge privacy implications. It is not necessary to do. We're going to have hit 3.5 million seniors that have gotten shots sometime this week, likely 75% of seniors. It's important to be able to do it, but at the same time, we are not going to have you provide proof of this just to be able to live your life normally. And I'm going to be taking some action in an executive function, emergency function here very shortly.
Whether he ever runs for president or not right now, the governor of Florida, that was Ron DeSantis. He's doing very well, thank you. Speaking out against vaccine passports, let's hear the other normal, non-extremist, non-radical governors follow Ron DeSantis' wake. I am Sebastian Gorka. This is America First on the Salem Radio Network. Got to play you some important cuts, but before we get to that, I promised you this. I think I teased it in an earlier part of the show. He is back with his own webpage. It's official, the 45th President of the United States. It's 45office.com. It's that easy. 45office.com. Let me just share with you. You can go up there. You can read the resumes, if you will, the about segments for the president and Melania Trump, the First Lady. Let's just share with you a little bit of that. This is from the webpage 45office.com. The 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, launched the most extraordinary political movement in history, dethroning political dynasties, defeating the Washington establishment, and becoming the first true outsider elected as President of the United States. You know what's remarkable about that first sentence? It sounds hyperbolic, but it's actually correct. The most extraordinary political movement in history. Check. Dethroning political dynasties like the Bushes and the Clintons. Check. Defeating the Washington establishment. Check. And lastly, the most easy to forget of all, given the fact that we've been around for more than 2 centuries, becoming the first true outsider ever elected as president. He's right. From George Washington to Obama, everybody was an insider, an existing politician or retired general, not 45. His inspiring, groundbreaking campaign proved pollsters, pundits, prognosticators, and the corporate media spectacularly wrong. Check. He mobilized voters with massive rallies, reached America's hearts and minds with his vision for national rejuvenation, and overcame virtually every entrenched political structure, political and financial, and achieved a decisive victory, winning states no Republican presidential candidate had won in decades. I'm just going to stop there. Guys, you need to go. You need to subscribe. You need to be on top of all the updates that come out of the president's new office. It's 45office.com. So glad to have him back. All we need now is that new social media platform. Okay. Couple of things we have to share with you that go to the heart of where we're at. Every morning I walk the dogs. I've got 2 fabulous dogs. 6-year-old Killian, Belgian Tervuren, incredibly smart, whippet smart. And a brand new one for my 50th birthday, my wife got me a female Tervuren called Leia, for obvious reasons. Just as smart, a complete pistol of a little pup. Man, does she have yayas in the morning? She has yayas. She loves to chase Killian around, fetch that tennis ball. But every morning, when I take him for a walk, we pass the house of a lady. It's really funky. It's an old church. It's a small church that's been converted into a home, first observation. And about a year ago, I saw this wizened, sweet old lady shuffle out of her front door, which was the double door of the church as was, down this uneven stone walkway to get her copy of the newspaper. And I said hi to her. We exchanged pleasantries. I told her who I was. She introduced herself. And I made a decision because she doesn't get up as early as I do. And whenever I'm out walking the dogs now, I'm going to stop her from having to make that journey in her slippers, especially when it's icy and snowy. And I'm going to pick up the newspaper that they've just thrown onto the sidewalk and walk up to her front door and put it on the step. And that's what I do every morning if I'm walking the dogs and not traveling. And today I did the same thing. And it's in an orange bag, but you can see the headline, the top of the newspaper. And sadly, because of where we are, it's the Washington Post. What was the headline, the top story today? It was, of course, the trial of Derek Chauvin, the George Floyd trial. A man who shouldn't have died, but who died with 3 times the lethal overdose amount of fentanyl in his body. Only one of 3 drugs that were coursing through his veins. 3 times the lethal overdose amount of fentanyl before the police touched him. What was not on the front page of the Washington Post as I deposited it on Mona's doorstep was any mention of Mohammad Anwar. Mohammad Anwar, who likewise should be alive today, who didn't have 3 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his body, amongst other things. A man who just moved here 6 years from Pakistan, 6 years ago, to do what? To provide for his family as an UberEats driver, who is now dead. Why is that not a story? Because the people who killed him aren't white? Aren't police officers? And why is it being twisted? This is Juan Williams on Fox discussing the death of that legal immigrant, Mohammad Anwar, cut 9.
It's tragic. I mean, you got these teenage girls. I mean, they're little kids. They're not gangsters. They're not hardened criminals. I don't think they intended to kill anybody. They were looking to have a joyride. And it just went way wrong, way out of control, and ended up in a gross tragedy. I mean, this is unbelievable. Their lives are ruined.
Well, they brought a stun gun, so usually you don't bring a stun gun to a joyride.
Thank you, Jesse. You don't bring a stun gun to a joyride. How did we get here that Juan Williams is making excuses and that Pakistani illegal immigrant doesn't matter, but George Floyd does? I'll tell you how. This is the audio of a Loudoun County teacher mad at a student who can't see race in a photograph. Play cut.
Right, just 2 people. That's nothing more to that picture?
Nah, not really. Just 2 people chilling.
I don't believe that you believe that. I don't believe that you look at this as just 2 people. I don't think
truly it is just 2 people, though, is it not?
Yeah, but I think you're being intentionally coy about what this is a picture of.
What would I be being coy about? It's 2 people standing back to back in a picture.
Yeah, and that's all you see is 2 people.
I'm confused on what you would like me to speak on in that sense.
I don't think you are. I don't know why you do this. I'm not trying to call you out, but you come out off of mute to talk about what this is a picture of, and you act as if there's nothing noticeable about this apart from the fact that they're 2 people.
Well, I'm confused. Are you trying to get me to say that there are 2 different races in this picture?
Yes,
is that what you want me to say? Well, at the end of the day, wouldn't that just be feeding into the problem of looking at race instead of just acknowledging them as 2 normal people?
No, it's not, because you can't look at the people and not acknowledge that there are racial differences, right?
But if we're going for, let's say if we're looking for equality within all this, then why would we need to point out things such as that?
Because those things, those differences are real things.
That boy didn't see race. The teacher could only see race. That's why George Floyd matters to the left and Mohammad Anwar doesn't. It is an utter disgrace, and it is un-American. I'm Sebastian Gorka. This is America First on the Salem Radio Network. Stay on this channel.